that around for the last 40 years. And today I have my special guest, one of her advocacy mentoring women to step into their CEO era. No other than Miss Sasha Eburne.
Hello, everyone. Thanks so much for having me here.
Welcome, Miss Sasha, on Book 101 Review. And can you please introduce more about yourself that I miss?
Sure, I'm a business and mindset coach, and I work with women globally to support them to build and scale their online businesses so that they can step into their CEO era.
Yes, and thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world, Miss Sasha. Thank you. And today let's talk about powerful mindset shift. We love that. Powerful mindset shift. The pivot point. Looking back, what was the single most significant mindset shift you had to make to go for aspiring entrepreneur to a successful founder?
Yeah, probably the biggest one was really acknowledging myself and holding myself to a higher standard. And for me to, I guess, be performing at my most highest standard was that I couldn't do it alone and that I had to ask for help. So I had to bring some others on the journey with me. I had to ask for support in terms of outsourcing in my business as well as in my personal life as well. So realizing that I've only got two pairs of hands and there's only so much that I can do on my own. So very much asking for help was a big game changer for me in terms of mindset.
Mindset indeed. Reframing failure. Entrepreneurs often say, fail fast. What mindset shift is required to truly see failed project not as a waste, but as a necessary, a valuable step?
Yeah, I think failing is really important because it's the way that we can actually find greater success. Because through failures, we can find successes and we can find better ways to do things.
Indeed. The scarcity trap. Many start with the scarcity mindset, focusing on limitations. How did you shift on abundance mindset, and what immediate effect did it have on your decision making?
Yeah, so a lot of our negative and scarcity mindset comes from generational trauma, the way that we're brought up, the limiting beliefs that we're taught by the older generation, and it's really about learning that you can reframe them in the moment. So when things come up to you, you might feel that you're not good enough or you're not worthy enough. Is just reframing it immediately in your mind, so you can start retraining your mind to think and feel differently. So when those comes up for you, rather than thinking I'm not good enough, to be like, actually I am good enough, I deserve this is who I am and this is who I get to be. So really just in the moment, the slight reframe, you'll slowly but surely over time start believing it in yourself.
Hmm. Definitely. Yeah. And tell us, Miss Sasha, the identity shift. When you start a business, you often tie your self worth to its success. How have you learned to separate your identity as a person from your performance as an entrepreneur?
Yeah, so the biggest shift is, when you take the shift from the 9 to 5 over to become an entrepreneur and CEO and running it like a business every day. And then, sometimes it is also about integrating as well. So if you do hold yourself to a higher standard as a personal and, mapping that across to your business as well. So it's really about how you show up and in what way and what method that you do, and really what is the image that you want to present out to your clients. But, at the end of the day, holding yourself to a higher standard in all aspects of your life will really serve you for the better.
Serve you for the better. Oh, I like that, Miss Sasha. The perfection to progress. The pursuit of perfection can paralyze early stage ventures. How do you coach yourself or your team to embrace good enough and prioritize momentum over perfection?
Yeah, I think it's about, again, retraining the way that we think that we shouldn't be all here striving for perfection. We're really just striving for progress. And progress is in the action. So the more that we take action and the faster that we move, the faster we'll get to our goals. And also realizing if we sit here and trying to be the perfectionist, that we will never move forward because we're procrastinating, we're judging, we're looking at it in a different way. So it's really about how can we actually move fast to get to the results, and generally that is just progress and action rather than perfectionism.
Progress, progress indeed. So, Miss Sasha, the learning lens. Instead of thinking, I have to prove I'm right, how do you cultivate the mindset of I need to learn what's true? So, can you share an example where you used the lens to prove your point? Okay. I think we have a glitches, Miss Sasha. So
Oh,
I
we're here.
apologize for that. So I'll repeat my question. When you start a business, you often tie yourself with the success, right? So when something goes wrong, it's easy to blame the market, a partner, or bad luck. What is the shift in internal dialogue that moves you from the blame to full ownership of solution finding?
Yeah, it's always about self-reflection, and there's nobody else there's no fault. So realizing there's no fault, there's just learnings, but also the only person that is responsible for your success is you. It is not a market thing, it is not a positioning thing. It all comes down to the way that we show up and the way that we are marketing ourselves and the way that we're leading. And if we're not doing enough or if it's not working, then we need to go and learn how we can make it work rather than sitting here playing the blame game. It's really about how can we take ownership and leadership and actually find the right way forward.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. Early on, founders often think limitations. I can have the speed or quality, profit or purpose. How do you shift to a mindset that seeks and solutions?
Yeah, I think it's about really working out what your focus is. And that really should just be momentum, and it should be about moving fast and moving forward, but doing it in the right way. So if you come into business and you don't know how to run a business, it's time to learn how to run a business. It's time to learn to run it as a business every single day. And that's the big shift. Is a lot of us know the services that we're offering and how to do them, but we don't necessarily know how to run a business. So that shift is about honoring yourself every day and learning how to do it properly so that you can grow. Because if you sit there and are just trying to do things the way that you've always done them or to do things that you've never been taught before, then you are probably going to fail quite quickly because you haven't learned how it works. We don't just wake up one day and know how to run a business. It's like you go to school. You go to school to learn how to do different things. You also need to learn how to run a business so that you can move forward and fail quicker.
Mm-hmm. So, Miss Sasha, comfort with discomfort. Growth happens outside the comfort zone. What mental frameworks or self talk do you see not to just tolerate the constant uncertainty of entrepreneurship, but to lean into it?
Yeah, so I guess we can't grow unless we get uncomfortable. And I think just acknowledging that moving and becoming uncomfortable is not going to feel easy, and it's not supposed to. The human body is designed to keep us safe. So any sort of change or pivot will feel very uncomfortable. So if you want to be a successful entrepreneur, you have to be okay with feeling inadequate or feeling the hesitation around the change. Because once you're in the uncomfortable zone and you stay there, you will slowly but surely take that aspect and move that to the comfortable zone. So it is possible to make the shift from the uncomfortable zone back to the comfort zone with that certain thing that you change. But it's about seeing the grass is greener on the other side. And the more we do the work, the more we can actually sit in the comfortable zone of the new tasks and services and the skills that we learn along the way.
Mhm. A huge shift is a moving from doing the work to building a team that does the work. What was the hardest part of the psychological shift and how did you manage it?
Yeah, it's really about sticking true to your goals. If your goals are to grow, then we do need to ask for help and we do need to get delegate. The problem with delegating is sometimes we don't know how to delegate properly and sometimes we might hire too quickly. And then we hold on to them and then we fire too fast. So it's really there's a strategy with hiring, there's also a strategy with how to manage a team and also knowing when it's time to let them loose as well. So that was a very much big shift and a big learning curve for me early on because I just hired too quickly. because they seemed good on paper, and then I brought them in, and then soon enough I realized that they weren't as good as they were on paper, and I probably didn't act immediately. So that was a big lesson in terms of if there's any kind of resistance or if they're not kind of achieving what you need and the requirements for your business to make the cut, because it will only sort of serve you in the long run to make really quick decisions.
The value of no. How do you shift from wanting to please everyone, saying yes to every opportunity, to strategically saying no to protect your focus and your company's vision?
Yeah, it's a big one. It's a big one about really staying true to you and being guided by your intuition. Is do the things that feel good for you, and if it doesn't feel good for you and it doesn't serve you any purpose, be okay with saying no. And that is just a learning for all of us. The more and more that we say no, the more and more it feels a lot more aligned. Because if we say yes to a lot of things, after we say yes, because it might feel good at the time, because we don't want to upset the other person, actually normally doing or being involved in the certain thing that we've said yes to will actually feel inadequate for us and out of alignment.
Hmm. Miss Sasha, redefining the risk. Many see entrepreneurship is inherently risky. Is there a mindset shift that allows you to see the calculated risk of sharing up a less risky than the long term risk of staying in a job you don't control?
Yeah, I mean the risk is unknown. You can't take any calculated risk per se, but it is a commitment to making sure that if you make the switch over to become an entrepreneur, it does take time and dedication. And Rome wasn't built in a day, so you're not automatically going to, get rich overnight or have a steady, stream of clients immediately. You have to do the work. So I think that's where the big shift is. A lot of people want to jump over to become an entrepreneurship thinking it's easy. It's not
Mm.
easy. It's not for the faint-hearted. However, it can be a massive return, one in terms of money, but also in terms of freedom as well.
Indeed. And the abundance of time. We'll get 24 hours. What mindset shift around time management and prioritization had the biggest impact on your productivity and sanity?
Yeah, I think even that statement alone is everybody has the same 24 hours is really clear that it's about what you do with those hours. A lot of people look at everything I do in my day to they're like, how do you fit it in? It's because I intentionally make time to do certain things. I also use pockets of the time. I also educate myself when I'm in the car or I'm growing, but I'm very intentional about where I spend my time. And also, I don't live a typical Monday to Friday, 9 to 5, because I don't live in the box of society. So I plan my whole week based upon my energy levels. So I work really well in the early morning. Sometimes I work at night, but I also work across the 7 days. And I'm not saying I work 24/7. I just spread my week out across 7 days and choose and pick the times that I work so that I'm not confined to the limited hours of the week. So it's really about how can we, um, have time work for us rather than using time against us and saying, oh, well, I just didn't have time. We all have the same amount of time. And if you look at the really successful entrepreneurs, how do they achieve a lot more and a lot faster? It's because that they're intentional with their time.
A lot faster because they know how to manage their time. So, Miss Sasha, from competition to creation, how do you shift your focus from obsessing over competitors to being so engrossed in creating unique value for customers and competition becomes irrelevant?
Yeah, it is a conscious decision. I can tell you in the beginning where I spent a lot of times looking at what the competitors were doing, it actually was a spiral effect. It made me feel very much a lack of, or what I didn't have, or a comparison analysis. But the second I took the shift and intentionally stopped following the competitors, stopped looking at what they were doing, it actually gave myself the time and the space to be creative and actually just step into what I believed in and what I wanted to offer to my clients. And therefore, that is why we are so unique, because we don't follow the trends. We do things how we choose to do them and what feels authentic for us.
Mhm. Yes, we are unique, people. We are unique. And Ms. Sasha, as a CEO, what are your short term and long term goals?
Well, short-term goals are to support over 100 women this year to scale their businesses. And long-term goals is just work out how we can make bigger global impact and how we can connect with more people around the world.
A global impact. And thank you so much for empowering women all over the world. And good luck and looking forward for more success. And what would be your piece of advice for those people out there who want to be like you, empowering women all over the world?
Just have to make an intentional choice. You can change your life. You can create the life that you dream. You just need to know who to speak to and know where to find it and learn and know how to do it. Literally it.
Thank you for that advice, Miss Sasha. And can you please recommend a book or books that influence your journey?
Yeah. So from Rachel Rogers, it's called All Women Should Be Millionaires.
Mm, yes. We love that. All women must be a millionaire. Of course. All men too.
Of course.
Include the men too, okay?
Yes.
So, Miss Sasha, thank you for that recommended book. So, The Power of Not Yet. How does adopting growth mindset, believing abilities can be developed and using the phrase, I have not mastered this yet or this yet, change your approach to challenge?
Yeah, it's very much a forward thinking, but it's also a if we don't know it yet, well, how can we find out how to do it? So where there's a will, there's a way, and we just get to learn how to do it and move forward from that.
Mhm. Vulnerability as a strength. In a world that rewards the image of having it figured out, how do you embrace the mindset that showing strategic vulnerability with your team or customers actually builds stronger trust?
Yeah, it's a very big shift from the 9 to 5 because in the 9 to 5, we're taught not to be vulnerable, don't really talk about yourself, leave your problems at the door. Being vulnerable as an entrepreneur is actually just being human, being open, being honest. And in terms of, with your team, if you're vulnerable and you share with your team exactly how you love the team to be, how you prefer to show up as a boss, you get a really good understanding of how they like to be managed by just asking these really direct conversations and questions. You can actually act and move forward in your business in such a way that allows everybody to have a really great understanding of where everybody's strong suits are and where they connect. But it pays to be vulnerable because that's actually the human experience. But for so long we're taught not to be vulnerable. So you can actually get more results out of people the more truthful and honest and more direct that you are.
For many, money is emotional topic tied to security or status. What shift in perspective was needed to see capital purely as a tool for growth and impact? And how did it change your fundraising or pricing strategy?
Yeah, money is a big thing, and a lot of people struggle when they come into this space, again, because of things that we've taught over time, over limiting decisions, limiting beliefs. Money doesn't grow on trees. You have to work hard to get money. So it's really about learning that that's actually not true. And we can actually craft our own money stories about what money means to us, and really kind of stepping into the we circulate money, we don't spend it, we circulate it. Money is energy, and money is actually what can support you to become successful whilst doing meaningful work. And that's where it comes in. So, as long as you are doing meaningful work and making an impact, money is just secondary gain. So, really rewriting the stories and your beliefs about money and the way that it shows up allows you to honor yourself and honor your clients and actually just run your business in a very different way once you have a better money story.
A better money story. Yes, we love that. The long game, Miss Sasha. Entrepreneurship is a marathon with sprint sections. How do you maintain a long term thinking mindset amidst the daily pressure to hit short term metrics and goals?
Yeah, it's really about every decision that you make, you really stay true to that long term vision. So when you're making a decision, is this serving us 10xing our business? Is this serving our 10-year vision? And if it doesn't serve the 10-year vision, then generally 9 times out of 10 we'll say no. So every single decision is intentional so that we stay true to that 10-year goal because we're so driven to meet that. Otherwise, we lose sight of it and we just live in the day to day.
Mhm. So, Miss Sasha, before we wrap up our discussion for today, I'm inviting you to please do listen to my other podcast, people, my other podcast, because my abstract essay is already in sixth season, abstract poetry in third season, and my Book 101 review in its sixth season as well. Comedy 101 in third season, and My Food 101 in sixth season too. Geography 101, Love Letters, Movie 101 review, Music 101 in its fifth season, Science 101, Sex 101 fourth season, and My Baby Podcast, Trivia 101, Law 101, Motivation 101, Mental Health 101, Entrepreneurship 101, and of course, Bible Verses 101. Please listen to them wherever you listen your podcast. So, Miss Sasha, listening to learn versus listening to respond in negotiations or customer interviews. This is a critical shift. What techniques do you use to ensure you are truly in learning mode, not just waiting for your turn to talk?
Yeah, it's about active listening and actually listening with heart and soul and really feeling what the other person has to say. And then even counting to 10, pausing, letting it sink in, and then intentionally replying. So life doesn't have to be fast forward. We don't have to automatically need to interrupt somebody to diagnose or to respond. And actually, we can have better conversations the more that we listen and we feel into the energy of what they're saying.
Yes, listen to the energy and take the energy itself, most especially if the energy of abundance. So, Miss Sasha Eburne, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world. So, can you please invite our listeners to support your advocacy, your projects, or your business, or anything you want to promote on Book 101?
Thank you so much for the opportunity. Yeah, we'd love to connect with any of the audience that this message resonated with. Our website is www.sashaeburne.com, or feel free to send a message over on Instagram, Sasha Eburne __. Always up for a chat, or send your biggest takeaways from the podcast.
Yes, people, let's support Miss Sasha Eburne because if you support her, for sure, more and more empowering advocacy for women to rise. So, Miss Sasha, I have one more question. The
Yes.
success redefinition. Finally, how you have personally redefined what success means to you as an entrepreneur. Has it shifted from purely financial metrics to something else, or how does redefinition guide you daily actions?
Our success is determined by our client's success. So when they have success, we have success. Now, it could be monetary for them, or it could be a personal win. They've maybe paid off debt, maybe they've landed this amazing clients. But for us, it's the impact piece. But it all
Mm.
comes down to our client success is our success.
Miss Sasha Eburne, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much for having me.
Modicum people, see you soon.